here's what Abomination's return in the Shang Chi trailer means for the MCU. What better way to ring in a new week and a new episode of Loki than with a deep dive into an entirely different aspect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And I know I'm sorry to disrupt your sacred timeline, Marvel fans, but I was on a much-needed vacation last week when the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings trailer actually dropped, so our detailed breakdown was actually vaporized by the Time Variance Authority because taking time off apparently qualifies as a Nexus event. Thankfully, I caught the nearest jet ski back to Los Angeles, so we're finally ready to talk about the new Shang-Chi trailer.
Thank you.
And while the first Shang-Chi trailer gave us a taste of the martial arts mayhem coming our way this fall, the latest trailer is jam-packed with kick-ass fight scenes, a much deeper sense of stakes, and oh yeah, a dragon that most likely isn't Fin Fang Foom. However, the scene that stood out to us the most because of just how unexpected it was came at the very end. A fight between the Incredible Hulk villain the Abomination and one of the mighty sorcerers of Kamar-Taj, Wong.
I wouldn't say no to a tuna melt.
Now, considering that we haven't seen Emil Blonsky, aka the Abomination, since 2008's Incredible Hulk, this was almost as surprising as seeing that massive dragon who, again, probably isn't Fin Fang Foom according to numerous toy releases. They call it the Great Protector. But I digress, because today we're going to break down what the return of Abomination means, who he's fighting, and what this could mean for Marvel's Phase 4. Now, obviously, if you prefer to go into Shang-Chi knowing nothing at all, now's your time to abandon ship. Otherwise, follow us as we journey into mystery.
Is this what you wanted?
While there are callbacks to everything from Iron Man to All Hail the King, what we're most interested in for today's purposes is that underground tournament taking place in what we assume to be Madripoor. For those of you who don't remember, Madripoor, which first appeared in 1985's New Mutants 32, is a former pirate sanctuary turned modern-day criminal metropolis located in the Indonesian archipelago. As we saw in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's divided into two parts, the ultra-wealthy Hightown and the impoverished Lowtown. It serves as a home base for Sharon Carter and her power brokering, runaway Hydra scientists, and some truly upsetting cocktails. In addition to Madripoor and their lack of extradition laws being the most logical place to hold an underground fighting tournament at the MCU, there are a couple of clues in the trailer that do point back to this. Now, number one is the presence of Razor Fist, the mercenary sent by Wenwu to take down Shang-Chi on the bus in San Francisco. Now, in the comics, Razor Fist first appeared in Master of Kung Fu 105, and he went on to become a constant thorn in the sides of characters like Wolverine. Specifically, Razor Fist later fought in the Bloodsport contest in Madripoor, which kind of feels like what we're seeing play out here in Shang-Chi. And while we thought we spotted the Madripoorian flag in the background of this shot where you see Shang-Chi stepping into the octagon to throw down against his sister Xia Ling, further review firmly establishes it to either be a vastly different version of the flag from the comics or, more likely, a replica of Captain America's shield. So maybe this is connected to the Brass Monkey, and after Sam becomes Captain America, they're just going like full Planet Hollywood celebrating they had a real-life superhero in their hallowed yet grimy halls. Now, the much better clue is the presence of Abomination himself, which immediately set Twitter ablaze with frantic speculation because this villain has basically disappeared from the MCU after 2008's Incredible Hulk. After Thunderbolt Ross injected this ex-British Spec Ops commando with a version of the super soldier serum, he turned into the aptly named Abomination, then went ham on Harlem. After Hulk defeated him, we really never heard about old Abomi ever again, except for a brief pair of mentions, both involving Phil Coulson. Remember him? He's dead. The first came in the Marvel one-shot The Consultant, in which we learn the World Security Council wants to recruit Emil Blonsky for the Avengers Initiative, which Coulson and Jasper Sitwell sabotage by sending Tony Stark to annoy the bejesus out of Thunderbolt Ross. The second mention is in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 episode Tracks, where we confirm the Abomination is being held in a cryostasis chamber somewhere in Alaska. So somehow Abomination manages to escape, presumably during the chaos of the blip between Infinity War and Endgame, and now he's lying low in Madripoor. And by lying low, yes, I do mean earning a living as a Savage Dragon cosplayer on Madripoor's version of Hollywood Boulevard, and fighting in a secret underground fighting tournament doing righteous battle with masters of the mystic arts who trained in eldritch magic at Kamar-Taj. And that brings us to who exactly Abomination is fighting. Well, with Doctor Strange heading into the multiverse of madness, it looks like Wong is going to have to buy his own pints of Hulka Hulka Burnin' Fudge with his fighting tournament winnings.
The Hulka Hulka Burning Fudge is our favorite.
Because speaking with Rotten Tomatoes, Marvel Studios head honcho Kevin Feige confirmed. Some fans said this looks like a character they hadn't seen in many years named the Abomination, fighting a character that looks like Wong. And I can say that the reason it looks like that is because that is Abomination fighting Wong. So there you have it. Obviously, it's difficult to explain why Wong joined a Madripoorian fight club because we don't know exactly when Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings takes place. If this is after Endgame, then your guess is as good as mine. But if it's during that 5-year span between Infinity War and Endgame, then it might just have been Wong's way of earning enough scratch to pay for the electric bills at the Sanctum Sanctorum while Doctor Strange was Dusty Strange. Now, Kevin Feige also seemingly downplayed the cameo moment a bit by saying of Abomination's appearance that it's a fun thing to have a character that we haven't had on screen in over a decade show up again in the MCU, and to see fans on that little tag of the trailer recognize that and embrace that is great fun. However, with that said, as we've seen in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, shadowy forces are assembling some Avengers analogs for some Black Ops missions. During the Falcon and Bucky show, Julia Louis-Dreyfus made her MCU debut as Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, or Val as she prefers to be called.
Don't call me that.
Anyway, Val winds up recruiting John Walker to her team to become the US agent, a character that answers the long-running question of what if Captain America had a black costume?
It's the same, but black.
According to Vanity Fair, Dreyfus's character was originally intended to debut in Black Widow before she appeared in the Falcon and Bucky show, but the pandemic had other plans. Although nothing is confirmed, Val could still appear in a film like Black Widow to recruit another character to her secret Black Ops program, like Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova to fill that Black Widow role, or maybe someone like Taskmaster if they need a utility player that has photographic reflexes. Because after all, as we've seen in the Black Widow trailers, Taskmaster can basically replicate any Avengers moveset simply by watching their game tape. So why is Val recruiting all these high-powered anti-heroes? Well, the popular theory is that she's recruiting a team of government-authorized, government-controlled super soldiers for a version of the Thunderbolts or maybe some sort of Dark Avengers initiative. In the comics, the Thunderbolts were headed up by Baron Zemo and featured a number of supervillains masquerading as brand new superheroes. On the other hand, the Dark Avengers were villains assembled by Norman Osborn, and they were being put forth as these much more murderous versions of the real Earth's mightiest heroes. Either way, it does seem like Marvel is laying the groundwork for a standoff between the Avengers as we knew them and this terrifying shadow version of the Earth's mightiest heroes that we knew and loved. And as anyone who read the Civil War comics can tell you, if you see someone that looks like Thor but isn't Thor, run! Especially if you're Lawrence Fishburne.
Really?
Because he kills Goliath in the comics. Anyway, it stands to reason that if Val continues her recruitment drive in Black Widow, we could see Abomination being seeded in Shang-Chi to reappear down the line for whatever Dark Avengers initiative that she's leading. Besides, we already know this isn't the last we're going to see of Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky, because according to Deadline, Roth will appear in the Tatiana Maslany starring Disney Plus She-Hulk series alongside Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. So maybe Abomination's finally being made to stand trial for what he did to Harlem. Or maybe he's taking Wong to small claims court for taking his tournament winnings unlawfully. What we do know is that this is not the last we're going to see of Abomination, and all the clues point towards Marvel bringing the Avengers villainous counterparts together for an evil super team that can match them blow for blow. For now, though, all we have to stoke our collective imaginations is the fact that Abomination and Wong are slugging it out in the ring during Shang-Chi. And hopefully we'll get even more answers when Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings hits theaters on September 3rd. In the meantime, though, tell us, what do you think of this theory? What do you think Abomination is really up to? And what did you think of the new Shang-Chi trailer?
Thank you.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.